Okay. Well, hello, everybody, or all seven of you. No. So today, of course, I went to the doctor, which I hate doing. And I'm going to give you a little history of why I hate doctors. I don't really hate the doctors, but I don't like going. Um, it all started way back in 1964. Yep. My first experience that I remember with a doctor and a hospital at the same time was getting my tonsils out. And boy, oh boy, that was not a fun experience. I didn't realize, and my parents said they had prepped me for this whole procedure, but they forgot to tell me about needles. And so my first experience that I remember is them trying to take blood out of my arm with the needle. And they couldn't do it. My dad, my mom, a nurse, I guess, and tried to hold me down to take blood out of my arm. They couldn't do it. And I was just 5. So anyway, they had to sedate me. And I remember being sedated. And later on that evening, they came in and drew blood out of my arm. And I remember being kind of quasi-aware they were doing it, but I was pretty much out. So that was my first experience. Not a good one. And then, of course, waking up with, no tonsils and having that terrible sore throat and popsicles, which I guess helped somewhat. But so my experience with, started out that way, and it just never got a whole lot better over time. I've been hospitalized a few times for like appendix. Now that one wasn't so bad. Okay. Believe it or not, when I had my appendix out in 1988, a huge story behind that. But while in the hospital, I was in the hospital for over a week because there were problems, complications. But I was able to smoke in the hospital. Now, I actually remember having nurses come and light my cigarettes. Now that has changed. So although the experience, of having the old style appendicitis and appendix operation with the big old scar, that wasn't fun. But but I could smoke, so that was important. I had a great pediatrician when I was a kid. I still remember his name, Dr. Pador, and he was a really cool guy. Really not one of those great forward-thinking doctors. Of course, he seemed ancient to me at the time, but and I had him all the way through my teen years until I left home. So he was a good guy. My first partner, Peter, had a doctor who was a gay doctor, and I thought, well, this is great, because it was in the 70s, and I thought, this is great. I'll go to a gay doctor, and I'll be able to talk about all the issues that I might have, because in the day, in the 70s, being gay was not necessarily a positive experience when you dealt with your doctor. So I thought, gay doctor, this is going to be great. The problem with Peter's doctor was that every time you went in for anything at all, I'm not kidding, he did a prostate exam. Now, I was a teenager, and I thought, well, this is kind of odd. But of course, now he obviously had some sort of a thing going on there that I didn't realize it. When you went in for a cold, that wasn't part of what he normally got in an exam. Then, of course, I had a doctor that I fired in the early 80s, because every time I went in, he talked to me about not smoking in very, authoritative, negative terms. And I said, look, I don't want to talk about the not smoking thing. I'm going to keep smoking. I don't want to talk about it. Anyway, the last time I went to him, he started up with the not smoking stuff. And I told him, look, you're fired. I said, don't charge me for this visit because I'm not paying. I've told you I don't want to hear any more about this not smoking stuff, and you're fired. And I just got up and walked out. Walked out. He didn't send me a bill, so that was good. But of course, he was right. But I didn't want to hear that. So that's another doctor experience. I had a great doctor. He was about 88 years old, and I always had a cough because I was a heavy smoker, and he was a smoker. And so I would go in with a cold or, some sort of a bad cough. He said, I'll get you something for that. And I would get these giant bottles of codeine. I can't see that. Giant bottles of codeine cough syrup. We're talking, and with refills, like forget about it. He's like, okay, here you go. Here's some cough syrup. And man, that was great cough syrup. I mean, you didn't cough. You didn't care about anything. You felt wonderful. And damn, of course, he was in his 80s. And I remember him smoking he had a big cigar. He would smoke it in the examining room. And I was like, oh, this guy's wonderful. I love this guy. Of course, he retired, and that ended pretty. I just wish I would have known him when he was young. But anyway, he was a good doctor. I never got the smoking talk from him, by the way. Now, my experience with most doctors has not been good. I tell you who the best doctors in my history have been. Women doctors, because they actually sit there and listen to you. They'll spend a lot more time with you. Now, the problem I have with women doctors is anytime it comes to like the hernia exams and stuff like that, not so much into it. The newest and best part of my experience with general practitioners nowadays are nurse practitioners. Wow. Now, they are usually, supervised by some sort of a doctor somewhere, but they have a huge amount of medical knowledge. And they're usually really up to date. They're usually younger. They spend a lot of time with me, at least. And they're not afraid to listen. And I've had both male and female nurse practitioners, and they do an outstanding job. One that I had years ago was a woman, and she was a country nurse practitioner. And I was visiting my parents, and they lived out in the country at the time. And this is, and I had a bad mole ever since I was a child on my neck, and it was causing me problems. And it was a big, and so I said, I really want this thing off. I mean, when it was ugly as it was terrible. And so I went in for $65. She in the exam room cut out and took this mole off, and it was big. I mean, it was the size of a dime. I mean, it was a big mole, and so she just she shot me up with some local anesthesia, and my mom said, "Can I come in and watch?" He's like, "Oh, sure." So my mom came in and sat there and watched. Anyway, and she took a scalpel and just carved this thing off my neck, and all the way down. It was bizarre to look at because it was all the way down past the epidural, the skin layers into the fat layers. I mean, she took that thing off, and then they sent it off for biopsy to see if it was cancerous, because that's one of the things I was worried about. It kind of changed. And it came back $65. Now that is a deal. I mean, you can't beat that kind of. And it was painless. I mean, she stitched it up. I had to have a couple stitches, and I was a happy camper, man. I had that ugly thing off my neck. It wasn't cancer, and it only cost me $65. Now that's a deal. So, so that being said, today I went to a brand new general practitioner, and the young guy sat and talked to me a long time, my concerns, it was great. He was really intelligent. He said, "Well, I'm not a doctor," and I thought, well, I kind of knew you weren't, but it didn't matter to me. I mean, well informed. I just got a great feeling about the guy. So if you get a chance, don't put that. I mean, don't just go with a doctor because they've got this degree and they had an internship and a residency at a hospital. That means a lot, but it's not everything, especially when you're dealing with your general practitioner. Now, of course, the news today was not good. But that's one of the reasons I, was forced myself to go back in and find a doctor. Anyway, but I mean, it's not horrible. I mean, up in the medication, which is great. I'm always into that. Of course, he wanted me to get a colonoscopy. I said no, thank you. Anyway, but he did. Now this is disgusting, but he did convince me to do a stool sample. Now that's important because so I thought, fine, I'll do that. He said, well, let's do that, and then if there's anything that shows up, we'll go with the colonoscopy. I said, oh, okay, fine. So that's my experience with doctors. Go check out a nurse practitioner in your area. A woman or a male nurse practitioner. They're less expensive. They usually take, you can get them at clinics a lot of times. And man, you'll never regret it, I think. So, but I have my lung specialist. This guy don't like. As a matter of fact, he's another one that started berating me about smoking because I still smoke once. Well, I smoke. Okay, I figured I'm sick. I'm So of course he gave me the whole thing. So this guy's a little overweight, not quite as overweight as I am, but the last time he said to me, you need to stop smoking. I said, okay, well, I can't afford the Nicoderm and all this kind of stuff. Can you give me? No, there's nothing that has. Well, I don't have any money. Okay, I can't afford that stuff. He said, well, you afford cigarettes. I said, okay, look. I said, you're kind of overweight. You should see this face. I said, you stop eating as much as you eat, and I'll stop smoking. Anyway, he didn't like it, but he stopped talking to me about not smoking anymore. Now, I don't, he's a lung specialist. I mean, these guys are, high-priced dudes, but I was like, God, screw it. I'm not going to take your shit. I mean, I know I can stop, but I've tried to stop smoking. I don't know how many times in my life. When I first got the diagnosis of a terminal illness, I mean, they said I wasn't smoking. I'd stopped smoking for like 3 years. And I thought to myself, screw it. Because they gave me like 6 months, okay? I thought, well, screw it. I got 6 months. I might as well start smoking again. Well, fuck me. That was 2 years ago. And I should have not started. Judging what an idiot I am, right? But anyway, so there you go. That's my take on doctors and hospitals. I'm not even going for hospitals right now. Fuck that. I hate hospitals. I'm going to die, hopefully, in this chair. I'm not going to die in a hospital, I can tell you that much. Talk about a full of sick illnesses that you don't have until you go in there. I mean, it's horrible. I can't believe people, it's like the most infected places in the universe are hospitals. All right. Now, I'm not just making that up. I mean, you can Google it. You Google that. You'll find out. You go into a hospital. Oh, I'm not feeling too well. You come out. You got, flesh-eating bacteria. I mean, it's like, anyway. So there you go. That's my hello. How are you for today? Happy, joy, right? Anyway, subscribe. If you like the channel, say, give me a comment. Say, give it a thumbs up. That's supposed to be good for me. I don't know why, but it's supposed. Or give me a thumbs down if you don't like it. I don't care, really. To be honest with you, I don't care. So anyway, have a nice night, and we'll talk to everyone sometime soon. Bye.